This is the guy that had 900 followers and he casually made 30K. What's going on? What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Likes and Cash podcast. Today I got a very special guest, a guy that really sparked the Likes and Cash movement. So this is Tony. Tony, would you mind introducing yourself to the people?
Anthony Price, CPA. I do tax planning, I do tax preparation, have a CPA firm, and I do high net worth tax planning and tax strategy. So I started my own business 18 months ago, and 6 months into it, I was starting to get some traction, but it was very slow. I wasn't leveraging technology the way that I knew that I should, because I'd been in these corners of Twitter where I was following JK for years prior. And I saw these guys were just driving so much traffic to their offices, making so much money using social media, doing business digitally. And my profession is traditionally in person, traditionally not very advanced in terms of technology. And it's hard to find a home run offer where you can make a lot of money off of the internet. And so being a younger guy and trying to combine professional services and this traditional service and product with a new way to market and grow your business online, I knew I had to find a way to get a hell of an offer and then drive a bunch of traffic to it. And so once I found my offer, I started trying to drive some traffic, struggled at it, made a little bit of progress, right? Made one big sale on big tax planning product. And so I found there was proof of concept there with the few followers that I had. I had less than 1,000 after, 6 months of, tweeting nonstop into the ether. And so I knew that proof of concept was there, but I wasn't great at writing tweets. I didn't have a whole bunch of traffic coming in. And that's around when we started working together last February.
That was cool. Can you tell people what the offer was that you ran with? Because I remember there was a little spike of proof of concept, and then everything took off. Like all at once, everything took off. Can you explain to people what that offer was?
Absolutely. So we blew up. So outside of my normal CPA firm, where of course we do tax preparation, we do bookkeeping, payroll, whatever client accounting service is necessary, that industry is subject to massive commoditization. So for a lot of accountants, it's a race to the bottom in terms of price, which starts to thin out your margins, which starts to really, hurt your lifestyle because it doesn't provide all the value. You're not charging based on value. You're charging based on simply time. And so if you're charging the same product, right, as any other accountant, then you are going to race to the bottom in terms of price. So I knew that we had to charge based on value, right? So how can we bring the most value? Well, not only do people want their taxes prepared, people want their taxes reduced to the maximum legal amount, right? So the offer became, well, I'm not going to work with you unless I can save you more in taxes than you pay me, right? So I'm going to save you more in taxes than you even pay me. What's not to like about that offer? If I can save you $100,000 in taxes, I can charge you $30,000 for a tax plan, right? So that's what the offer was. When the bull run in 2021 was happening with crypto, everybody wanted to mitigate their capital gains. And that's exactly what we're able to do with our trusts, with our tax plans. And so I'd found a couple people being in these crypto circles, and we'd implemented tax plans and trusts, and we made, 30K of revenue so far with simply the few hundred followers that I had. And I knew that if we were able to blow up the traffic, we'd be able to blow up income. We'd be able to get a bunch of people into tax plans and into trusts, and we'd be able to, save people tons and tons in taxes. So it's exactly what we did.
And this is Tony's work. He converted me, so the offer is valid, tested, and functioning. Very good services, by the way. Highly recommended to avoid taxes legally. So,
Absolutely.
yeah. I want to talk about, some people go, well, I maybe crafted this offer, I want to start selling it, but I don't have any followers, right? Yet you converted it that much at 900 followers. So in the beginning, that slump where people don't see you, what do you do?
So my idea completely changed after working with you. Before, I was tweeting into the ether. I was, buying the courses that you had with Ed Lattimore, and I was studying and everything, trying to come up with, as many good tweet ideas as I could, and was making decent progress, right? I was growing slowly. I was engaging with other tweets. I was putting out, information that I had, really good, tax planning, tax preparation, basics of tax and accounting, how to save, this much in taxes. I was putting out the threads. I was putting out the tweets. What I realized after talking to a couple people, after I started to get noticed by a couple people and they interact with me and they, boost my post or they just retweet me, I go, oh, you got to have an in with somebody that has a big account. And you don't have to, but when people that are bigger accounts like you and they want to see you succeed, that is going to catapult you into success. Right. And so working with someone like yourself, where we just genuinely, hit it off and become homies, and you want to see me succeed and you're, sharing my posts because you want to see me succeed, that's going to get so many more eyes, right, on my tweets. And now that I have so many friends, right, on Twitter that also have big accounts, like, we're just friends, they're going to share my tweets for free because they like me. They like the information I put out there. They know it's very valuable. It just catapults you into success. So having the social proof of friends with big accounts, right, has helped me become a person on the radar of the accounts I used to just follow and be one of those guys where, no one knew who I was, what I did. I was one of those 100-follower guys where I'm like, man, I'm here. I'm a hustler. I'm working hard. I'm trying to figure it out myself. To now you make a friend here, you make a friend there. They share your stuff. One of their friends, right, follows you and goes, oh, this guy's stuff is good. And now it's just crazy the amount of people that I used to follow 3 years ago and go, man, these guys are killing it. How do I do something like that? And now they're my homies, right? Or they're my clients. It's crazy. So having an in, or having somebody that you work with, right? I put this out here on my social media sometimes. Have a coach. Have somebody you work with, because when they're tied to your success, they're going to help you out. And to have somebody that is successful and where you want to be successful is extraordinarily helpful. And it's peak scarcity mindset. The people that say you're going to waste money on a coach, you're going to waste money on a course or something, because they have been the greatest ROI that I've made in my business, is working with coaches, establishing relationships with people that are already successful, or I want to be successful, because they have helped me so much in making my business extraordinarily successful.
That's fire. I had a call with a ghostwriter yesterday. His name is Marcos. He has 3,000 followers and he ghostwrites for people at 10K. So people are like, what? Why are people hiring ghostwriters with less followers than him? And the reason why is, he said, because all these guys, like, they have the big account, and when you have a big account, people just expect you to have everything figured out. When in reality, there's a lot of big accounts that are hurting because they can't get calls, they're paying too many taxes, they're doing all this weird stuff that's just not optimized. So it's funny that you mentioned Lattimore, because that's when I kind of came in. I had the product, Lattimore had the audience, right? So we kind of combine. Right here you had the service and you combine it with everybody who has the big audience. So you combine. So I just wanted to really nail down that point. When people focus on using the big accounts to grow, that is a way you can engage with them to grow. But an even a higher ROI thing is helping them, because then they'll help you out of goodwill and they'll like you and they'll refer you. You know what I mean?
100%. Whether that's you provide a service, you provide a good, you are constantly adding value to their tweets, or whether you are a paid customer of theirs, a paid client of theirs, that's the easiest way to get in front of them immediately. Because it's not just somebody where, to an extent you could be, engaging on their post because obviously you want to grow. But if you pay them money and say, hey man, help me grow, I'm your client now. Of course they're going to do that, and they're going to want that. I mean, the people that pay me, I know for myself, I get tax questions every single day, but the people that pay me for tax advice, they're going to be first priority when it comes time to answer questions, right? It's the exact same way with any professional. If you pay them, they're going to want to prioritize you because they're financially invested in your success. So I highly suggest it, man. It's so worth having some skin in the game for both of you, so that they're tied to your success. That changed my perception, because it was a big risk. It felt like at the time, man. I literally put down working with JK more than I had invested in anything in my entire life, right? And it paid off like extraordinarily, right? And now we're homies. We're mutual clients. I mean, I love JK, dude.
Yeah. Actually, now that I think about it, I've never spent so much either online than in your tax services. Now that I was thinking about it, have I spent more than that? I'm not going to disclose the price because I don't know if you raised it, but anyway, that's what happened.
I appreciate that. Same with you. Same with you. But it's a lot. It's a lot, man. Like we really both took the risk based on the relationship that we made. And for JK, I want to say this too. It's relevant to the podcast. I've been following JK for so long that I was almost like starstruck, and I know he's had that experience before where it's just like, yo, this is my man that I'm seeing out there, engaging with all these big accounts, has all these big relationships. I knew that when he was pitching me on his services that he would be able to come through on that offer, right? And so building up the account and having that credibility, it's been the same way with me, where even at just 10K right now and growing, I've now built a reputation. I now have friends in the industry where when I hop on a call, right, it's somebody that knows already, they've decided they want to work with me, right? They want me to prepare their taxes because of the credibility I've shown on Twitter and because of the relationships that I've made through the platform.
That's a lot of how those calls go, man. Like, now that you have an account, you get it. Like, you ask them, why are you on a call? Oh, it's because you helped me. Cool. Yeah. Do you want more help? Oh yeah, let's do it. That's it. That's the entire call. That's how you close them. It's really not that hard.
Exactly how it was for me.
Yeah, it gives you kind of, when you have a personal brand, it kind of gives you leeway to suck at lead gen and suck at sales. I'm not saying you suck at sales or lead gen, right? But in general, it gives you leeway to suck at sales and suck at lead gen and still generate leads and still close sales, just because of the huge credibility. And I think I figured out why. Like, I was thinking about it, and I think there's two reasons. One is, a big part of the sales process is you need to trust the salesman, right? Well, no, it's just one reason now that I think about it. You gotta trust the salesman, right? And when you work with big accounts, like, think about it. Like, if you scam someone, Tony, like, and they go on Twitter and they say, Tony fucking scammed me, like, don't work with them, like, your reputation is at least hurt in some way, and it's hard, right? So people know this when they buy from you, when you have a big account. And Naval says this: if you want to create wealth, take on higher levels of accountability. And because people know that you have so much to lose, like, they're more willing to give you money, because they're like, he's not gonna fucking scam me. He has way more to lose than me, right? I only got the money to lose. This guy's got the reputation, the time, the connections, the money, everything. You know what I mean?
100%. I mean, reputation is everything, especially in the business that I'm at. We have this responsibility for professional integrity. We have that requirement, as licensed CPAs. I mean, I'm terrified of having negative reviews. I'm terrified of having, my clients that are displeased with my service. So much to the point that, while we were working together, I literally had to tell you to stop ghostwriting for me, because I had so many leads coming in that I wasn't being able to follow up. I wasn't able to provide as good a service, temporarily for my clients that I already had, because I just went from a significant offer problem to this massive, fulfillment problem, right? And so 100%, you have to, as a big account, right, take that responsibility serious. Not everyone does, of course, but, for me, I'm trying to build a community more than just an audience that I can send things out to. I think I've done a pretty good job at that, actually, is that people like me for me because I am exactly who I say I am. I love to meet people in person, and that's how I started getting clients, was in-person networking, going to BNI, going to events where I met people in person. Technology, social media is simply the best way to scale that, right? So when I meet people on Twitter, I like it even more when I get to meet those people from Twitter in person, and I have for tons and tons of people, right? And I'm the exact same person, maybe even better in real life than I am on Twitter, right? There's just no better way to reach that many people than on social media.
It's an infinite leverage, man. Like it's the coolest thing ever. When I wanted to ask something, and I think this is important for the audience to get some context. So Tony launched a thread on this thing called the trust. He can explain it better than me, but essentially it's like accountants and steroids, and you don't pay that many taxes and you can protect everything. It's the best thing ever. And he just got like a ton of influx of leads, because this is kind of like the IRS didn't want you to know this, right? That's how he framed it. But what I wanted to ask you is, with all this influx that you got, and now that you have like a fulfillment focus, would you do anything differently? As in, would you take less people in? Would you raise your prices? Would you do anything differently?
That's a very good question. I would say that I would do things a little bit differently, right? Hindsight 2020. I would be more prepared for the influx of leads, because it was overnight, man. I wish I could show you. I really do want to show you the difference in my calendar from the day before that thread dropped to the day after, because I'll do these free 15-minute intro calls, right? And give myself 30 minutes to do them in case they go long, right? And I remember clear as day, the thread dropped on, I want to say February 11th. It was a Friday, right? And that morning, like 8 a.m. Pacific time, it dropped. And already by that afternoon, I had scheduled 5 calls, right? Saturday, I had my calendar open from 9 to 5 p.m., 30-minute increments. So what's that? 16? All 16 time slots were booked. Monday, all day booked. Tuesday, all day booked. It was insane. It was like 50 to 100 calls that were booked based on that one thread that just blew up, right? And so to go from, 2, 3, 4 a day, right, of calls to 16, right, I wished I was a little bit more prepared for that influx in leads with my automations. There wasn't the same need for that. I was able to get by without having these, highly automated systems, because I just didn't have that much lead flow. I can have 4 calls and I can do all the follow-up sequence after manually, because it's not taking up my entire life. But when you have 16 calls, all of them might have slightly different follow-up need, right? Or most of it is within the same, bucket, right? I need to send out information. I need to send out, intake stuff. It's one of 4 different things. You want to be able to automate that, all right? And if I had those processes in place so I could have better communication, I literally had too many leads, right? I lost more business over the, following 3 months of, dropping that thread than I had the previous, 9 months, right? I lost more business over that next 3 months that I just couldn't handle. Kind of let the lead go cold because I just couldn't follow up with that many people, right? So having some processes in place to handle that much lead flow is the only change that I would make. So I knew it would be successful. Didn't realize it was going to be that successful.
My guy's suffering from success. Holy shit. DJ Khaled, yeah, you got it,
yeah. God did.
Yeah. Okay, this is a problem that a lot of people wish they had. So if anybody's watching this, man, and they're like, man, I wish I had the lead flow, what would you tell them to improve that situation?
We went through some pretty great exercises, JK, that helped me craft my message, right? to tailor it towards the audience that I'm looking for, right? We've already spoken about having somebody in your corner that's going to help you succeed on social media, right? But really defining the message that you have and being very intentional with that message, providing value, adding, positive engagement, and then the ask, don't be afraid to ask. Hey, if you make over $150,000 a year, shoot me a DM. I'll only work with you if I can save you more in taxes than you pay me. Right? Adding that to the end of every tweet, I got DMs and they would say, hey, I make over 150K. I want to save more in taxes than I pay you. It created those conversations consistently. So, knowing what your offer is, right? Knowing how to convey the offer, knowing how to provide some value around that offer, and then having somebody in your corner, right, that's going to help you continue to cultivate, continue to craft and improve all of those processes and wants to see you succeed, that has already been there. That's been the secret to success on online and digital marketing for sure. I mean, networking with all kinds of other friends as well.
Yeah, sometimes people say, I like to compare this to the bodybuilder world. The big accounts, we all like to think they're natural, when in reality it's part natural, part juice. Like they all help each other. Nothing's just completely natural on Twitter. That's just not how it works.
I mean, it's exact. Everybody's tied in with each other monetarily. Everyone wants to, help each other out. If someone's going to help me out, of course, I want to help them out, right? Whether there's money involved or whether there's not money involved, it's like, I just want to see my friends succeed. And if someone's going to, share my posts and just be a good friend and provide value to me, I'm going to do the exact same to them. And while likes ain't cash, retweets can absolutely help generate some cash, right? And so having that distribution is extremely helpful, right? And so whether that's just from being friends with them and making the ask because you've already provided enough value, enough social capital that they're willing to do that, or whether you want to try and grease the pockets a little bit, either way, it's a good way to establish a relationship. It's a good way to get your message out there and really, leverage technology to, get more eyeballs.
Yeah, so people go like, man, it's unfair because you got the big accounts. Well, have you tried paying a big account to help you out? Maybe.
Exactly.
I was very interested. Now I shifted my way of converting. So instead of converting people on Twitter, I try to converse with people on Twitter. I take them to the DMs. But that was a lesson. I don't know. It was just kind of hard to learn. Not take them to the landing page, but actually talking to them. Is there a reason why you would rather ask people to DM you rather than book a call with you on a VSL or a Calendly?
Better qualification. I would say better qualification. If the DM messages go bad, I don't want to talk to them on the phone either, because it's hard to mess up a DM conversation, right? They go overwhelmingly positive. Every once in a while, it's like negative, and if you mess up a DM conversation, then I probably won't want to meet you in person, right? So I got to do is like, hey man, what's good? Like, I like your content, let's talk, or, I'm interested in this, so better qualification in the DMs is the reason why, just to establish that relationship. It's like, oh, I've actually talked to this person before. I know that he acknowledges that we're going to have this conversation. I'm excited to, meet this person in real life or through, a Zoom where we've acknowledged each other before, as opposed to, all right, I just kind of added myself as a lead onto the automated flow. Is there an actual real person behind it? It's way more personable when you go through the DMs than just hop in a funnel through a link you click. Yeah.
Dude, that's such a better answer than me. I just got lazy and I didn't do the landing page, honestly. Yeah, man. I guess another thing that I wanted to ask you, let's talk about why that offer was so enticing. Not just the 150K, but the trust themselves. Like, what do you think? And if you could tie it a little bit to marketing terms, that'd be cool. What do you think people felt so attracted to trusts, even though for the outsider it's just like, it's kind of boring if you're not an accountant,
Yeah, exactly. When I start to rattle off all of the technical information behind the trust, you start to lose it a little bit. But I'll try and hit some marketing terms, right, without being this expert marketer, but we hit a lot of those factors of intrigue. It's like, does the IRS really not want you to know about it? And, we're going to have some angry CPAs. We're going to have some angry tax attorneys in the chat, calling for my head. But how does the IRS make money, right? They make money from collecting taxes, right? So do you think that they might selectively not tell you all of the strategies you can do to save on taxes, right? They're not going to advertise on their website, hey, here's the most effective tax planning strategies you can implement in your business to pay us less money, right? So framing it in such a way that makes it a little bit more enticing, right? Oh, the IRS doesn't want you to know this, right? Well, do they actually not want you to know this, or do they just not advertise it, right? So framing it in the right way on the thread is really interesting. It's like, oh, you don't know about this before. Oh, I don't know about this. Why do I not know about this? Right? Explaining the benefits in detail, and they are far superior to any other strategy that you can implement. 99% of other strategies are not going to beat this if you are a business owner, if you are a investor in crypto or in real estate, right? So you liken it to these rich families who have been utilizing trust structures long before the tax code was even implemented, and you say, well, why are the Rockefellers using trusts? Why does Kamala Harris have a trust that she then had to disclose on her congressional financial disclosures that she originally didn't? She had to amend to say that she was a trustee of this tax mitigation trust, right? So showing that there's a little bit of esoteric information that's being utilized by people at a higher level of wealth, of understanding of the legal and tax code, really, really was enticing and made for some very interesting information. And so it's a little bit like red pill. It's a little bit like, feels like conspiratorial. But when you get into the evidence and you really see with your eyes what's happening, you see, oh, all right, there's an entirely different game being played that is not being propagated by, even the CPA exam, right? In the 1/8 of all of the education that happens is even on taxes, right? There's however many thousands of pages, tens and tens of thousands of pages of the tax codes, and barely any of it goes over the taxation of, private contracts, right? And the taxation of trusts and how the different bodies of law lay over each other and which one takes precedence. The Uniform Principal Income Act, Uniform Trust Code, right? So that's now getting into the boring stuff, right? But finding a marketing twist, right? A interesting way to describe and create the feelings of this is esoteric, well hidden information, right? Oh, there's scarcity to this information, right? There's some, esoteric nature to it. That's really what I think successfully hit. Not only that, but its applicability and its massive, massive benefits. When you just say on the front end, right, hey, well, we're able to defer and mitigate, 100% of passive income. We're able to reduce, active business income, significantly. We're able to protect your assets, far superior to an LLC. That right there is a hell of an offer in itself.
Yeah, I like it. You ever read the one sentence persuasion, the 20-word sentence that allows you to persuade anyone at any time? Ever heard about that one?
I haven't.
Yeah, it's this thing by Blair Warren. It says, people will do anything for those who encourage their dreams, justify their failures, allay their fears, confirm their suspicions, and help them throw rocks at their enemies. And I feel like this one helps them throw rocks at their enemies because nobody likes the IRS.
Yeah, exactly.
So
and everyone's suspicious that there's other things going on. I mean, when you see the Panama Papers, you see the Pandora Papers, and you realize, oh, there's people all over the world that are utilizing trust structures legally to leverage their wealth, to leverage the rules. There's people out of the country that are using the United States as a tax shelter, right? They're using different states. They're using the U.S. geographical territory as the location of their trusts and of their businesses, of their wealth vehicles, to save taxes, to protect and to hide their assets. And that's been exposed not by the mainstream media who's saying, oh, this is great. It's been exposed not by the IRS who's saying, oh, look at what they're doing. That's totally fine. It's been exposed by, journalists who dig and find this stuff. And so it absolutely confirms the suspicions of people that go, why am I paying 50% in taxes living in California when we've got Donald Trump paying $750 a year in his income taxes? Why does that happen? Why what's the Gates family foundation? Why does he have a family foundation? What even is that? What are the benefits? Why would he have a family foundation? Is there reasons other than just the fact he wants to give away all his money, or is that an entity that he can leverage the tax and reporting rules so that he can further his family's wealth and his interests in a wealth efficient manner, right? And so absolutely that thread and what we do is, affirm the suspicions that, likely there's something else going on that you hadn't heard about before, and that a lot of normie accountants are completely closed off to because they aren't taught about it, because they're scared by misrepresentations that the IRS even makes on their website, right? So 100%. That's a couple pieces of marketing that we were able to touch on and made it very effective to create conversations.
You remind me a lot of a Dan Coe quote that I really enjoy, which is, do what you love, but learn sales and marketing so you can actually make a living out of it. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your time. And that was the Likes and Cash podcast with the man, the myth, the legend, Tony. Bye-bye.